Hi everyone, I am back with you today with a little video just about my local area. I went out for some urban sketching, some travel sketching just to the local park, which seems, maybe on the face of it not all that interesting. However, within this park is a gated section called Lone Hill Copy, and this bit is actually where the town that we live in gets its name. So this is Lone Hill Copy Nature Reserve, and Copy means hill. So it's only opened at the weekends, so it's got these kind of big severe gates, and inside it's got some interesting kind of bits and bobs. So the reason that Lone Hill has its name is because of the copy, which is this hill. And as you can see, it is a lone hill in the middle of the landscape. So it is actually a heritage site. It is protected, hence the gates around it. You're only allowed in there at the weekends, no dogs and stuff because there's a bit of wildlife in here as well. And it's only sort of open during the summer months as well. So here we go. Here is the famous hill, the famous Lone Hill. And you can see on the top of it, it's kind of got like this weird kind of balanced boulder situation, which kind of can look a bit precarious from afar, but there's a couple of hiking routes up to the top of this hill, so you can get right to the top. There's a ladder and you can climb up the ladder and stand on that top boulder, so that's pretty cool. The history, as far as I know it, I know a very brief kind of bit of history, is that a bloke called Simon Johannes Norton sort of first kind of saw the hill, the copy, and just kind of fell in love with it. So this was around 1934. So I think he was an immigrant from Holland in the late 1800s, and yeah, he saw this place, fell in love with it, and wanted to buy the land around it. So I think he had a couple of farms and stuff like that around it. So he is actually considered the father of Lone Hill, because I guess the town kind of grew around as he sort of settled there. And him and his wife actually stopped a lot of quarrying in the area because they were actually kind of, they were like conservationists, which is pretty cool, like back in those days. So, they stopped a lot of the quarrying, and even though they had a lot of like great offers for people to come and quarry the land, they turned those down. So that was pretty interesting, I thought. And so there's not too much left around the copy to sort of signify that someone once did have a farmhouse here and it was all farmland. But there is kind of this cool looking water tower, which we sat down by, and I sat down to sketch. So you can kind of actually walk around the whole way around the copy, like in a circle. And there's some houses bordering the park and stuff, but otherwise it's quite a peaceful little place to be. And there's some cool little bits of wildlife sort of running around, which I'll talk about in a minute. But yeah, as we walked around the copy, there's this kind of cool looking water tower thing. It's nothing too extravagant, but it is one sort of symbol that someone did live here before. So I sat down and thought I'd do a quick little sketch of that. I'm using my Hahnemuller toned sketchbook for this particular excursion. And as usual, I'm just sort of sketching out the basic bits in pencil. The chair with these kind of plastic arms so that I could attach my camera to it. Otherwise, I probably would have just perched on a rock, but I did want to film this for you guys. And so as I was sketching, lo and behold, this little Dussie appeared right in the middle of the water tower, which was just amazing. And luckily, I got to capture him on film. So I don't know if you can see him too clearly. I'm on like full zoom on my phone here, but yeah, these little things are called Dussies, and they're kind of like giant guinea pigs. I just adore them. I'd never heard of them before I came to South Africa. Yeah, just love them. So anyway, back to the sketch. Yeah, so I've just done my basic pencil sketch. Then I went in with my fountain pen, which is the Twisabi Eco fountain pen, which is my fave. And then I went in to do some painting. So again, I was just trying to do this as quickly as possible. I think I did this whole thing in maybe like 20 minutes. I'm not going to lie, it was quite difficult balancing everything on my knee and trying to make sure I was filming and do it quite quickly, all with midges flying in my eyes. It was quite the challenge, but I quite like this little sketch. I think it came out, it's just nice and simple, quite graphic. Yeah, I was quite happy with it. So once we'd sketched I'm saying we because my boyfriend is with me here. He's not sketching, he's just being supportive. Just get out of the house, So once we did that, we carried on walking around. Just wanted to find a good view of the copy of the hill with the boulder on top. And unfortunately, the late afternoon sun was like right in my eyes, but managed to just creep into the shade and just be able to see it reasonably well. Sketching trees and rocks are not quite my forte, but I really wanted to have a go at this. And I thought, I just mapped it out sections in my pencil and then just went straight into watercolor. And I'm actually really happy with how this was going. I quite liked what I was choosing to do the rocks with. I was kind of using like some of my Indian yellow and just kind of blending in a bit of purple in different kind of quantities for the shades and stuff, and I just think it really worked quite nicely and actually looked like rocks, which is not something I've been great at in the past, so I was pretty happy with these efforts. And then again, just trying to get in the trees quite loosely, so starting off with a lightish yellowy green kind of base and then working wet on wet and just adding darker bits of green. It was still quite hot, so the paint was drying quite quickly, but again, I'm still like, the effect is there. It's definitely captured the overall look of the copy with the boulder balancing on top, so yeah, I was pretty happy with this one. Again, just trying to work as quickly as possible, still mosquitoes eating us, so and also it was getting later and later, and I was aware this section of the park was gonna close, so yeah, just trying to be quick. So we carried on walking around, and then we saw some guinea fowl, which are just the most delightfully crazy little birds I've ever come across. They are awesome and mental, and recently I just found out that a collection of guinea fowl is called a confusion, which couldn't be more perfect to describe a group of guinea fowl, so I did have to laugh when I found that out. So the third and final sort of site, just to finish off this spread and just to kind of, signify a good kind of collection of landmarks for this particular area, is actually a little cemetery. And it's where Simon Norton and his wife are buried, along with the dude that kind of was their employee for like 70 years. So technically a servant, I suppose. But yeah, and he was given like a full-on burial with like proper coaches and everything, and his gravestone is actually like the most ornate one out of all of them, and he's like at the forefront of this little cemetery where there's only sort of 5 people buried. So I thought that was really nice, actually. Like, he was so much a part of the family, so yeah, I thought that was nice. I was trying to just fit this in between the sketches. I'm not overly happy with the placement that I did, but again, it was just hot and it was getting on for time. I think I had about 20 minutes left before the park closed at this stage, and I just had to make some quick decisions. So yeah, so I sketched Philemon, his name is, the main dude. Sketched his gravestone first, and then kind of moved on just to place a few of the others very basically in the background. But again, not too happy with the placement that I chose, but you know, whatever, it's fine. It's urban sketching for you, you know, just need to go for it. And I decided not to really paint the gravestones for a couple of reasons. One, I was running out of time. Secondly, I actually thought it provided a bit of contrast. I felt like if I painted them, it might make everything a bit too confusing. And thirdly, we kind of got accosted by a very strange man who was fine, he was lovely, but he was like talking very loudly and repeating himself a lot and not listening to any responses that we were that we had to him. So it was a very one-sided conversation, and it got a bit frustrating quite quickly. So we were like, we're gonna leave now, bye. So I'm sure you guys have come across that situation with a stranger where, especially maybe an older person, where, you know, they just talk at you and don't really give you a chance to reply, or they talk over your reply, and it's just not a two-way conversation, and it's very frustrating. One of my pet peeves is when people ask me questions and then don't bother listening to my response. So anyway, but yeah, so I thought once we got home, I was like, so that was fine for the sketching trip, and I thought I've got in my head something about outlining this gravestone in a white marker, in a white Posca, so I was like, oh, I might as well film myself doing this just to show you guys, you know, the difference and what it turns out like and that kind of thing. So I just did the main sort of focal point, the main gravestone, and then I just thought I'd colour in some of the weeds and grasses that were growing through the gravestone, and then I decided it just needed another pop of colour, so I put this kind of blue watercolour pencil around the edge of the gravestone, and also one on the left and around the copy a bit, just to kind of make it stand out a bit more like what it was, kind of thing, because these things are obviously blending into one another, which was intentional, but just wanted to make it a bit more obvious. And then because I'd done quite a bit of blue on the left, I decided that I wanted to do a bit of blue on the right just to balance things out by the water tower, so just added that in. So yeah, overall, I was quite happy with my efforts. I'm really happy with that kind of copy, like the stones and the trees and stuff. Yeah, that was the first time I've been like really happy with my rock sketching. So yeah. So anyway, guys, I hope you found this a bit interesting, and I hope that you guys can get out in your local area soon. Especially for those of you where it is winter and it is cold. Spring is coming, so I hope you can get out soon safely, and that you can get a bit of sketching done, or maybe find out some interesting facts about your local area as well, a bit of history or whatever. Something to do on a Sunday afternoon. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Do hop over to urbansketchingworld.com if you get a chance, because I think you'll find a lot of interesting / inspirational information over there. And also, if you haven't already, please go and check out my ebook, which has got 3 years worth of my travel sketches in one ebook, over 130 watercolor and ink illustrations, so you may also find that interesting. But otherwise, I will see you in the next video.